Okay, let's get to back to this guy Neville Roy Singham, the communist living in Shanghai, China, doing a lot of damage to this country. And we went over this pretty stringently yesterday with how he gets the money in, who gets it, and they hire professional people to go to Minnesota to cause mayhem and violence. That's what happens. All right, joining us now is a reporter who's investigated this. He's way ahead of the story. His name is Jerry Dunleavy. He works for Just for the News. That's John Solomon's organization. And he has been on this case a lot. So what I'm interested in is why the federal government hasn't exposed this character, Neville Roy Singham. Why isn't this guy known by everybody?
It's a great mystery. I think that you have a very good Foreign Agents Registration Act case against Neville Roy Singham, just given his close connections to the Chinese Communist Party and his political activities here in the United States, which are universally pro-communist. And that might sound a little bit out there, a little bit extreme, but that is in the words of Neville Roy Singham himself and the words of the groups that he is helping fund. And that's everything from the People's Forum, which is based in Manhattan, but really has a national reach. The Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is excellent at organizing protests and demonstrations nationwide. And I just encourage viewers, next time you see one of these demonstrations, whether it's pro-Palestine a few months ago, or whether it's anti-ICE now, keep an eye out for the signs in those protests. Undoubtedly, you're going to see that a huge number of those signs are put together by the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They're very organized. These groups are. Code Pink, which we've all heard of, is also roped into this Singham network. Neville Roy Singham is actually married to the co-founder of Code Pink, Jody Evans, and Answer, which is a 2-decade-old organization, Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. Answer, the Answer Coalition, is also very closely linked. These groups share money, they share resources, they share personnel, and Neville Roy Singham has also helped to fund. It's called Breakthrough News. You've probably never heard of it, but if you go and search for it, you're going to see that the videos by this group get hundreds of thousands, millions of views. And pretty much this group's purpose seems to be promoting the work of all of the other groups that I just mentioned and promoting the actions they take in the protests that they do. So Singham has put together a very sophisticated network here. They're able to spin up protests and demonstrations and actions pretty much anywhere in the U.S. that they want pretty quickly. And
Jerry, do they pay people to show up and cause mayhem?
It's an excellent question. And that's the sort of thing that you would hope the FBI is looking into. What I can say is that these groups have a professional demonstrator side, absolutely. So they do have people that are getting paid. Obviously, the executives and leaders of these groups who are often out there leading the protests and demonstrations. Then they have their members themselves. And then wherever they go, whatever the city they're descending on, they link up with the local groups, the local Democratic Socialists of America group, the local communist groups.
Right. And they have the databases and they share the information and emails of these people who are interested in overthrowing the government. Is Beijing, in your opinion, is there any evidence to back it, in bed with this Singham guy? And is this an attempt by a foreign nation to undermine the United States?
It does appear that Singham, his office in Shanghai is co-located with a Chinese state media operation. So just right there, you have not just a sort of ideological link or a financial link, but a physical link between Singham and
that's very circumstantial, but it's very powerful. What about the Trump administration not getting out You would assume, because the FBI has investigated the Singham, our Justice Department knows about him. He's on the radar, to use a cliche. But there is no attempt that I can see from the president on down to get the story out.
Congress has been pushing for the Justice Department and the FBI to investigate Singham and his network for years now, first during the Biden administration and continuing now. If there's an investigation happening, it is an invisible one at the moment, which investigations often are, but no investigation is also invisible. So we don't know for sure. Congress.
I don't understand it. I don't. Because this is a huge part of this, not only in Minnesota, because these people, as you pointed out, they go everywhere. They're organizing now in New York City. 4,000 they have signed up to go disrupt ICE when they come in here looking for criminal migrants. And it's an enormous story. We understand why the left-wing press ignores it. You understand that. They don't want any part of this. What they want to do is blame and harm the Trump administration. That's it. That's what they're in business to do. But the right-wing media, they haven't grasped the story either. I haven't seen it. Last word.
I will say that I've done probably a couple dozen stories now on the Singham Network, and the more that I look into it, the more connections you see to other groups, the more sophisticated you see the operation is. A shutdown effort, a strike effort in Minneapolis that happened on Friday seems to have been at least in large part, organized by the Singham Network. They're trying to have that be sort of a nationwide effort this Friday. Of course, this is all aimed at anti-ICE operations now, but months ago, this network was focused on anti-Israel and pro-Palestine protests.
No, they just want to disrupt and create as much chaos as possible. All right, you can reach Jerry Reeder's stuff at justthenews.com. And we appreciate, Jerry. We'll check in with you, regularly now, because I'm not letting this story go. Thank you very much. All right, now yesterday and Monday, we gave you a pretty solid informational flow on a guy who is funding a lot of this professional demonstration, violent demonstration. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He's a billionaire tech guy, lives in Shanghai, China. He works with the Chinese government, and he has a 501(c) in the United States called Breakthrough News, where he funnels money to places like the People's Forum in New York City and Minnesota radical left organizations. He's deeply involved with the insurgency and the sedition against the federal government, this guy. And we gave you all the information. He's a communist guy. Now, I didn't know this, and I don't think many other people do, but the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Jason Smith of Missouri, has been looking at this whole situation for a while. All right? And he certainly knows about the guy and everything else that's going on. He joins us now from Washington, D.C. I didn't even know about this story, Congressman, and I'm pretty on it here. Tell us a little bit about what you found out so far.
Bill, it's great to be with you, but it's very disturbing. We have been investigating 501(c)s and nonprofits since I become chairman. And both in the Biden administration and now in the Trump administration, we have called for the tax exempt status of 11 different 501(c)s to be revoked because of how they've been funding terrorism, how they've been funding civil unrest. And the People's Forum that you mentioned is one of those that we called both administrations to revoke because of the money trail, the money that's coming in from the CCP that's helping with creating chaos and discourse in the United States is absolutely unacceptable, Bill. It's illegal. If for foreign money to come into elections, it should be illegal with this foreign money coming in and creating chaos
and they're killing
and disruptions.
People. They're killing people.
That's
People are dying. Tell me about
You look,
when you say CCP, that's the communist government. So everybody knows what
yes.
you're talking about. So Neville Roy Singham seems to be the kingpin here. He's the face. Works with the Xi government. Can't. I don't think he can come to the United States. I think they'd arrest him if he did. But he's married to the founder of Code Pink, who's another radical organization. Tell me about him.
No, like Roy Singham is as close to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, as any American possibly can. And his wife, as you mentioned, was one of the main funders of Code Pink to continue with creating chaos throughout the United States. This is something that apparently is their mission, their drive. It's what we're looking into, but it's unacceptable that they're able to transfer money into tax exempt entities and basically be subsidized to create this chaos.
Now, who would stop that? The Justice Department?
It would be both. The IRS and Treasury can revoke their tax exempt
All right,
status,
so Besson,
and also the Justice Department
have you talked
can
to
go
Besson?
after.
Have you talked to him?
We have.
Does he know? Does he know what's going on?
He absolutely does know. We actually sent him an official letter on October 7th of last year calling for these 11 entities to lose their tax exempt status, including the People's Forum. And we laid out tons of evidence.
But
and
he didn't move on it. He didn't move on it.
He hasn't yet, but I'm going to be meeting with the CEO of the IRS in the next 10 days on this very topic, because I think it's super important, and I think the evidence is very clear.
Oh, absolutely.
Right before our eyes.
Will you come back after that meeting on this program? And if I can make a call or two on your behalf, be happy to. Because look, nobody is doubting the information that you've assembled. Nobody is doubting that Neville Roy Singham and the Chinese government are pumping money into the United States to destabilize the federal government, and violence is occurring because of it. Nobody is challenging it. It's not a he said, she said. Now, the media blacks it out. Has the New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times called you for anything?
No, very few
Okay, so they're not interested.
Are paying attention.
Right, they're not interested. Democratic Party interested? Anybody on your committee?
They haven't been helpful so far. We have been trying to go after foreign influence of the communist Chinese party in putting dollars into 501cs, and they have not been cooperative yet. I'm hoping that they will see the light, because this is anti-American. There's no reason why we should be subsidizing terrorism.
Congressman, once the people know what's happening, then you're going to see a startling change. But they are burying it. The Democratic Party, they better cooperate, because the Democrats on the Ways and Means Committee have a responsibility to act on information that you've assembled that shows, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the only reason that Beijing would do this is to weaken the U.S. government. That's it. That's what they want to do, correct?
It's exactly their whole purpose, is to create chaos, make the United States weaker. We are going to continue to use every tool in the toolbox to go after these 501c3s, especially the People's Forum. And if they don't provide the documentations that we've asked, we'll use subpoena. We'll do it all.
But what I'm worried about, Congressman, is no one knows about the story, because the left-wing media blacks it out. The right-wing media isn't even picking it up. They will now. After your interview with me now, it'll get out. So Besson sits on it. IRS commissioner sits on it. Everybody's got to start to mobilize, because we have 2 dead people now. We have an insurgency in a state, all right, not seen since the Civil War. So now this story becomes urgent. You have to get the information to the American people. Once you do that, the American people will put the pressure on the politicians, and they'll have to do something. That's how it works. You know that.
Bill, I appreciate your hard work in helping get this message out and the information out, because I totally agree with you. The American people, they deserve to know. They need to know. We have to stop this in the United States.
All right, you're doing good work, Congressman. Once you meet with the IRS guy, I hope you come back, let us know. And Besson, we're going to contact him ourselves. All right, so we'll put a call into him today about this issue. and we'll light a fire at Treasury. And hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks, we'll get this whole thing out so everybody understands what it is. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you, Congressman. That's the way we have to operate here because the press is so dishonest, they're not going to get it out. I'll get it out. Okay? And we got it out on Hannity's radio program today. We're lighting fires. But this, I didn't even know about this before the Minnesota thing.